every story appears ordinary till you see the core side of it.
And what you're looking for is the story behind the news.
We bring it to you from Lagos, the commercial capital of Nigeria.
Giving you all sides and political stories round the clock.
Every detail from the start line to the final whistle.
CoreTV News, expanding your view.
Hello and welcome to CoreTV Primetime News. I am Gift Ogete. In our major story, Adamawa Acting Chief Judge Ambrose Mamadi dismisses all charges leveled against the state lawmakers by Governor Murtala Nyako, clears way for the commencement of impeachment proceedings. Also in this program, Senate kicks against alleged plans by the Imo government to introduce identity cards for Northerners residing or doing business in the state. Lagos State Governor Babatunde Fashola reps call for end to strike as doctors remain adamant. And outside Nigeria, United Nations reassures West Africa that the deadly Ebola epidemic could be stopped.
And in business news, federal government pays oil marketers 45 billion naira for fuel importation.
And in sports, Eugene Bocha set up Wimbledon women's final clash with Petra Kvitova.
Good to have you join us again. Now the details of the headlines and other stories. The impeachment saga in Adamawa State has taken a new twist. The state's acting Chief Judge Ambrose Mamadi has dismissed all charges leveled against the Adamawa State House of Assembly by Governor Murtala Nyako. Mamadi had earlier restrained the lawmakers from proceeding with the impeachment process. He has now given the members a clean bill to continue with the impeachment. The House has earlier directed the acting Chief Judge to set up a 7-man panel to investigate the allegations of gross misconduct against the governor and his deputy. Legal practitioners in the country have been charged to dispense justice within a reasonable time frame to erase delay in justice in the country. Oluwaseyi Adegoke was at a conference organized by the Lagos State Ministry of Justice and the Nigerian Bar Association. Her report is presented from our studios.
The conference on judicial reforms was tagged Delay in Justice Administration Beyond the Rules and Law. It is aimed at reducing delay in justice. The Lagos State Governor Babatunde Fashola says legal practitioners must know that they cannot win all cases, but should narrow down disputes.
But it's not judgment alone. If the judge is now compelled to give judgment within a particular time frame, I think practitioners also must be constrained to present their cases within a particular time frame.
The Lagos State Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice, Adebaye, says there is improvement in the system, but attention should still be focused on other issues not yet addressed.
Now, the important thing to note this morning is that while the complaints of delay are often addressed to the courts, we all know that administration of justice is not all about courts alone. Litigants themselves and their lawyers are key players that can speed up or slow down the process of adjudication.
Clearly, we will find ways to speed up administration of justice, so that justice is not delayed to a point that is truly justice denied. Because the more ordinary people experience this and find that they cannot get justice, the more the system loses its legitimacy. And as legitimacy is eroded, people find that the only way they can get, in their view, what is justice is by taking the laws into their hands.
The judiciary, however, says judicial reforms must be a continuous exercise to erase delay in justice administration.
The military authorities have again denied allegations of human rights abuse leveled against soldiers operating in the northeast. Defense spokesman Major General Chris Olukolade says Nigerian troops waging war against insurgents have been operating in line with best international practice.
Accusations of human rights abuse will be investigated whenever it is believed to have occurred. And I must call your attention to the fact that this has become a stock in trade of organizations that have doubted our ability to maintain integrity in our operations. But be sure that this remains a professional force. We are conducting our activities in the most professional manner, and we will stand by that. And until proved otherwise, we don't agree that these allegations hold until it can be proved. But the obligation we have is to investigate it, and when such allegations come, we do investigate them. Your other allegations are simply in the spirit of the other criticism that typical.
The police authorities have convened an emergency meeting with senior officers to appraise the overall security situation. Inspector General Mohammed Abubakar presided over the meeting that also had zonal AIGs and the command CPS in attendance. Police spokesman Frank Mba said in a statement that the IG urged senior officers to evolve new intelligence gathering and crime-fighting techniques and methodologies to suit their respective local challenges. He added that the Inspector General of Police also charged them to improve on their surveillance network and ensure high police visibility across the country. The police chiefs are also to commence early preparations for the 2015 general elections through conducting adequate threat analysis and intensifying capacity building for electoral policing best practices. As the fight against insurgents in Nigeria take a new turn, the police authorities are keen to impart adequate knowledge on tackling insurgency on the rank and file. The police management team has commissioned a special study center of the National Open University in one of its barracks in ABU. Inspector General of Police Mohammed Abubakar said this will allow officers and men to acquire knowledge without going far from their place of primary assignment. Although the National Open University is situated in the barracks, the police say it will also be open to members of the public. Members of the Bring Back Our Girls movement are demanding a more credible progress report on ongoing efforts to rescue hundreds of schoolgirls abducted by Boko Haram from Chibok, Borno State in April. The group is also seeking a review of financing for security operations in the Northeast. This was the thrust of a press briefing organized by the Bring Back Our Girls campaigners to draw attention to the girls' 80th day
Our
in
movement
captivity.
is therefore making the following demands. 1. An accurate assessment of the effectiveness of the ongoing rescue operation and more credible communication of progress to the public by our federal government on its mission to bring back our girls without compromising sensitive operational information. They should include conveying substantive targets and milestones attained so far in the rescue operation. 2. Reassure Nigerians on the adequacy and effectiveness of the federal government's counterinsurgency strategy, especially in responding to the worsening security condition in Chibok and other parts of Borno State, where the federal government reported that it had deployed about 20,000 Nigerian soldiers early in May, as well as intensifying attention to the most vulnerable zones of the Northeast and the rest of the country in that order. 3. Review of the financing of our security operations by the federal government and the National Assembly to ensure adequacy and value for money, especially with regard to A. Allocation of resources for adequate compensation and welfare of security personnel in the military and other security agencies. B. Equipment, weapons, intelligence tools and systems, and C, basic support facilities.
The Senate has kicked against alleged plans by the Imo State government to introduce ID cards for Northerners residing or doing business in the state. This was on the basis of a motion by Deputy Senate Leader Abdul Ningi, who insisted that the policy is capable of creating more harm than good. Although a few senators made a case for restraint, majority are convinced that Governor Okorocha had to be cautioned.
The motion was raised by Deputy Senate Leader Abdul Ningi. He contended that plans to introduce ID cards for Northerners residing in Imo State was unconstitutional.
This policy could only be successful if security agencies are involved in it. And the Commander-in-Chief of the Nigerian Armed Forces is the only person that would direct otherwise. Because once you have a policy in a state, it could only be successful if you use the police, the state security, and the military. And that is the wisdom behind this prayer. As whatever the governor tries to do, if he doesn't have the backing of the law enforcement agencies, it will fizzle out.
And in spite of a denial by the state government, many senators were in no mood to tolerate what they say is capable of creating more problems in the country.
Mr. President, sir, my submission is this. Whatever action they each want to take should be guided by the provisions of the Constitution and should be guided by the oath they took as oath of office, that they shall defend all Nigerians, not just the citizens of their states.
The governor of Imo State has brought a lot of infamy and insult upon the name and the people of Imo State. I want to tell you, on behalf of all Imo people, that we believe in the Constitution, that the constitutional provision of free movement, free association, free worship, and all the personal freedoms.
At least one senator preferred to lay the blame on the doorsteps of the federal government.
What happened? Who did or did not do his job well enough to make Nigeria better? But Imo State and its policy or contemplated policy is only ancillary, is only consequential to the inaction or improper action and lackadaisical behavior of the PDP administration in Nigeria.
But a handful of senators do not believe Governor Okorocha was capable of introducing such a policy.
The key word I picked from the earlier speakers is the word investigation. We have not investigated the allegation. We have not bothered to say yes, even in the prayer, we did not state that let a committee go and investigate the veracity of this thing, and we have started condemning and passing judgment.
Rogers is called everywhere, the governor of Imo State, as a northerner. So I don't see how he can, well, that's what they said. I don't see how he can, because he was born there, he was raised there, everything he's done is there. So I don't see how he could make such a statement. So I think, please, we need to investigate so that we can now come back to now condemn, if we want to condemn this order.
At the end of the day, the majority had its way. The Senate unanimously resolved that President Jonathan should prevent the security agencies from aiding the government to implement the policy. Senators also advised Okorocha to reverse the policy in national interest.
The venue of the national conference was momentarily thrown into panic when a delegate suffered what was described as a cardiac arrest. Nia Kintolai, delegate from Oyo State, suddenly had a fit in the course of today's session, but the quick intervention by some nurses and security operatives ensured that he was stabilized. The delegate was later driven out to an unknown health facility. The nationwide strike by resident doctors has continued. The strike was triggered by what the doctors say is government's inability to meet its 24-point demand. Olajumoke Olatunji visited the Lagos University Teaching Hospital and brought back this report.
The medical doctors say the demand is aimed at sanitizing patient care and adjustment of the doctor's salary. President of the Lagos University Teaching Hospital chapter of the Association of Resident Doctors, Omojowolo Lubumi, says the strike has been effective. He urged the federal government to come to the aid of doctors on time because many lives have been put at risk.
The strike has been very effective, but we are not just interested in going on strike. We want the issues involved to be resolved speedily so that the sufferings that the patients are going through can be brought to an end.
The secretary ordered that the strike is a painful decision which took the Nigerian Medical Association some time to decide. He also urged the federal government to make haste to granting the prayers of the doctors.
There is a painful decision to be taken, and it took a long time for enemy to declare the strike, and the only hope we have is that governments should accede to the demands of enemy on time, so that this needless suffering of patients will end. We must realize that even while doctors are working, the sufferings were on because of inadequate facilities, poor health system, poor national health insurance. There is nowhere in the world where good healthcare deliveries exist, where people are expected to pay from their pocket to access. Nobody knows when it's going to require health service. There are things you can plan for: buying car, building houses. You can save towards that, but nobody can confidently save towards payments for healthcare delivery. So that's why NHI is very important. That's one of the major things, the key issue in the NMA demand.
CoreTV News was prevented from speaking with some of the patients on admission. The strike has increased pressure on private healthcare outlets across the country. Olajumoke Olatunji, CoreTV News, Lagos.
Meanwhile, Lagos Governor Babatunde Fashola has appealed to the striking resident doctors to end the industrial action. Fashola made the appeal at the second convocation ceremony of Lagos State College of Health Technology. Abiola Oluwole completes the story presented from our studios.
Established in 1920, the Lagos State College of Health Technology has been instrumental to the training of health workers over the years. Governor Fashola was in the school to preside over the second convocation ceremony of the school. The announcement of automatic employment for the 265 graduating students by the governor attracted jubilation from the crowd. Speaking on the importance of medical workers to the well-being of the people, Fashola called on the striking doctors to sheath the sword in the interests of the people.
If you are like God on earth, because it is a calling to be a healthcare practitioner, it is not just any other job. It's a calling that requires care, it's a calling that requires compassion, it's a calling that requires empathy, all of those things that you have been told. It is a relationship of absolute trust. Does God go on strike on us? Then can we go on strike on patients who depend on us in order to stay alive?
The immediate provision of jobs for these students by government is expected to further boost healthcare delivery in Lagos State.
In a related development, the House of Representatives has sought to intervene in the ongoing strike by medical doctors and urged the health personnel to suspend the action. The House, in a resolution in Abuja, directed the Committee on Health to look into the grievances of the doctors by holding a meeting with the leadership of the Nigerian Medical Association within 1 week. The House called on the doctors to suspend the strike pending the outcome of the intervention of its committee. The resolution was taken following a motion on urgent national importance moved by the minority whip of the House, Samson Osage. The All Progressives Congress lawmaker from Edo State argued that the timing of the strike was wrong. has stated that Nigeria was in a sort of emergency situation arising from the frequent deadly attacks by Boko Haram insurgents. Osagie noted that people who were injured or needed urgent medical care from the attacks could die if there were no doctors to attend to them. He added that many sick people and women in labor could suffer untold hardship if the strike was allowed to continue. The motion received overwhelming support as it was passed in a unanimous voice vote. You're watching CoreTV Prime Time News. We'll take a break now. When we return, we'll take you to Osun State. Stay with us.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Ghana. Please remain seated and ensure your seatbelts are fastened. You can now turn on your MTN mobile phone data to enjoy a browsing rate of 5 kobo per kilobyte with MTN One World. Thank you.
Absolutely. Browse like home with MTN One World. Surfing the web from any MTN operating country costs the same like home. Enjoy affordable rates when you call and send text messages. Terms and conditions apply.
MTN, everywhere you go.
This one wash challenge will test Ariel to see if it removes stains in one wash. Let the challenge begin. First, chocolate and juice. We will wash shirts with Ariel. Look, Ariel has cleaned in just one wash. So which detergent removes stains in one wash? Ariel, P&G Everyday Quality Brand.
CoreTV News now provide a platform for live coverage of political rallies and electioneering campaign from anywhere in Nigeria. Political news stories, political editorial reviews, political discussions, personality profile, People's Parliament from the National, State and Local Government Assembly. Contact us now on 0803-471-8550 or 0803-724-9733. 01453-3407.
Our 24-hour news station. You can now watch CoreTV News live from anywhere in the world on our website www.coretvnews.com. Click on Live TV on our website and watch us live.
And welcome to CoreTV Primetime Days.
To follow us on Twitter, click on Twitter icon on our website. On Facebook, click on the Facebook and YouTube to see all our previous news production. You can also watch us live on YouTube. Click CoreTV, leave a space, then news. CoreTV News, our 24-hour news station.
Welcome back. It's CoreTV Primetime News. The Independent National Electoral Commission has denied allegations that the Osun State Resident Electoral Commissioner REC, Rufus Akeju, has been removed. ANEC spokesman Kaudi Doe said in a statement he was only requested to proceed on leave of absence for his own safety and to ensure the credibility of the forthcoming governorship election. He explained that the REC was asked to step aside against the backdrop of partisan acrimony over his person. ANEC insists that Akeju has not been indicted for any offence and remains substantive Resident Electoral Commissioner for Osun State, even though someone else would preside over the August election. Leaders of the People's Democratic Party in Osun State have condemned the state of the economy in the state under the incumbent governor, Ralph Aregbesola. Franco Malape has details.
While speaking on the state of the economy under the current administration of Governor Ralph Aregbesola, leaders of the PDP say the management of the state economy is an abject failure.
The whole of Osun State, the economy is in shambles. If you see some artisans, the tailors all over Osun State, the job has been taken over by a company owned by the kinsman of Aregbe, because the uniform being purchased by the clothes sellers in the markets are being taken over. So all the uniforms used in the schools are taken over. So that sector has been paralyzed. The economy of that sector has been paralyzed.
They accuse the government of impoverishing the people of the state with capital flight.
Since the creation of this state, we have never experienced this kind of suffering before. And the reason is complete capital flight. The APC government has embarked on an unprecedented capital flight from all aspects of governance in Osun State to Lagos. So people have been seriously impoverished to the extent that people cannot afford 3 square meters per day. And they know that the only option they have is to vote him out. And that is why you see people expressing their readiness to support Senator Yellow Missouri.
The governorship candidate of the party says the party is on a rescue mission.
So no road, you can see no road there, no water, no light, nothing. So we're going to improve, we're going to start a brand new state. This is our mission is rescue mission. We're in emergency state now. State of depletion, where fraud is the end of the day, where nepotism is the other, not indebtedness, schools are in bad shape, commerce in comatose. So what else to talk?
While the PDP continue to tack up its chances and raise issues with the management of the state's resources, it is certainly not the last word about the issue. Frank Omalape, CoreTV News, Osogbo.
Still on Osun, the People's Democratic Party has begun a massive campaign in its final phase of campaign roll ahead of Osun governorship election in August. Again, Frank Omalape has details.
The PDP governorship candidate in August 9 election, Eniola Omisore, will start off his campaign in Ife South by proceeding to pay homage to his father, Olaji David Omisore, the Olu of Ayekpe, Olode, to receive his blessings. The campaign train later moved to the campaign ground with the candidate Eniola Omisore and his running mate Adija Rebello taking turns to address the massive crowd. Party faithfuls say the campaign is a movement for a new Osun.
But as it is now, the Yorubas have decided the movement is towards Eniola Omisore and PDP. So once the movement is towards you, there's not anybody can do. You can't stop the movement.
You can see for yourself the people by their coming out in this large number have shown in clear terms their preference for PDP, their preference for Eniola Omisore, and it is clear, God willing, everything being equal, with massive votes, PDP shall win the August 9 gubernatorial election in Osun State.
To make this place as a hub of activities is not a surprise at all. It's a manifestation of the fact that people are really ready for a change here.
Eniola Omisore says his supporters will vote massively in the August 9 election.
Well, you know we are ready now because we are working hard from ward to ward, town to town, village to village, because the vote must count. The government is preaching violence, but the vote will count. That's why we are working hard. They are planning to agree, but we are planning to meet our people. These are my people who will vote en masse for Omisore.
The PDP rally shows the readiness of the party ahead the election, but the question of who wins the election depends on the people of Osun. Frank Omalape, CoreTV News, Osogbo.
The presidency is to establish agriculture clubs in select schools in 12 states of the Federation. This is part of a comprehensive agriculture program designed to introduce young Nigerians to opportunities in the sector. Senior Special Assistant to the President on Schools Agriculture Program, Baraka Sani, disclosed this at her maiden press briefing in Abuja.
Of positive attitude towards agriculture, equipping school leavers for job opportunities through practical teaching of skills for life, building entrepreneurship skills in students to run agriculture as a business, to offer the young farmers a voice, most importantly to create a stronger spirit of working together and unity among students.
You're watching Core TV Prime Time News. We'll take another break. When we return, it will be time for business and sports news. Stay with us.
This one wash challenge will test Ariel to see if it removes stains in one wash. Let the challenge begin. First, chocolate and juice. We will wash shirts with Ariel. Look, Ariel has cleaned in just one wash. So which detergent removes stains in one wash? Ariel, P&G Everyday Quality Brand.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Ghana. Please remain seated and ensure your seatbelts are fastened. You can now turn on your MTN mobile phone data to enjoy a browsing rate of 5 kobo per kilobyte with MTN One World. Thank you.
Absolutely. Browse like home with MTN One World. Surfing the web from any MTN operating country costs the same like home. Enjoy affordable rates when you call and send text messages. Terms and conditions apply.
MTN, everywhere you go.
CoreTV News now provide a platform for live coverage of political rallies and electioneering campaign from anywhere in Nigeria. Political news stories, political editorial reviews, political discussions, personality profile, People's Parliament from the National, State and Local Government Assembly. Contact us now on 0803-471-8550 or 0803-724-9733. 01453-3407.
Our 24-hour news station.
Nigerians continue to tonight, the city of Lagos waits at the dark as all routes to you on.
Be the first to know.
You on CoreTV News
from the north, south, east, west, and around Africa. We break the news.
One Nigeria.
Now you can catch all the actions live as the news breaks. We are CoreTV News.
Welcome to CoreTV.
Our 24-hour news station.
Hello there, welcome to the world of business with me, Sabena Izoku. The federal government says it is currently making payments totaling 45 billion naira to all marketers for fuel imported. According to a statement signed by the special advisor Paul Iwambuiku to the Minister of Finance, Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, only marketers whose claims have been cleared after they have gone through the verification process are paid. Iwambuiku added the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation did so to ensure that the unpleasant experiences of the recent past with regard to wrong and irregular payments are not repeated. The letter of indemnity are an additional requirement for payment because the banks which finance imports by some marketers had written to the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation through their lawyers to complain that the clients, the marketers, are making interest payments through other banks contrary to the terms of agreement reached. A total of 220 million barrels of crude oil was unaccounted for by the Nigerian government in the period between 2004 and 2014. The Nigerian Extractive Industry Transparency Initiative, NETI, Executive Secretary Zainab Ahmed, who spoke at the management workshop organized by the Nigerian Association of Petroleum Explorationists, NAPE, said the agency is confronted with different production figures as it gets different figures from both the Department of the Petroleum Sources and oil companies. At an average cost of $100 per barrel over the period, the country is estimated to have lost a total sum of $22.04 billion owing to her inability to account for the said volume of oil between 2004 and 2013. She further said crude oil losses also occurred through the meters at the terminals and therefore called on government to pay urgent attention to the need to have functional meters at the export terminals. Determined at driving growth in the country, the Minister of Communication and Technology, Mobola Johnson, stressed the need for Nigerians to begin local content development in the area of information and communication technology, ICT. Johnson, who gave the advice in Lagos while inaugurating Nigerian content development in ICT, said the telecoms industry contribution to national gross domestic product (GDP) is close to 9%. She, however, noted the major challenge facing the industry is perception gap with regard to the reality of Nigeria being a destination ground for ICT hub in Africa and advised corporate organization that rely so much on foreign developed software to begin to work inwards for local software that can meet their needs. The minister stressed the need for more measures to put in place to ensure interest foreign direct investment. The United Nations Development, in partnership with the Small and Medium-Scale Enterprises Development Agency of Nigeria, SMIDEM, has commenced entrepreneurship development programs in 6 geopolitical zones in the country to encourage women-owned cooperative societies to alleviate poverty. The Director General of SMIDEM, Malam Bature Umar Mashari, disclosed this in Mina at one-day entrepreneurship sensitization program. Mashari disclosed that the Federal Ministry of Youth Development is also involved in the design, which is aimed at addressing specific areas of challenges facing women entrepreneurship and management of enterprises. He stated such challenges to include gender discrimination, difficulty in sourcing for information, lack of access to machine and raw materials, and establishment of business linkages with large enterprises. The program aims at creating wealth and job creation is in tandem with the President's transformation agenda. And on the floor of the Nigerian Stock Exchange, the market ended on a positive note today. The Nigerian Stock Exchange All Shares Index appreciated by 77.11 points to close lower at 42,686.86 basis points. Also, market capitalization opened at 14.069 trillion naira, with drop to close lower at 14.095 trillion naira. In all, a total of 571 million shares valued at 8.36 billion naira were exchanged in 5,224 deals. Report shows that Dangote Cement PLC topped the gainers chart, followed by Guinness PLC, Wapco PLC, Unilever PLC, and Okomo Oil PLC. And on the other hand, Nestle PLC led the losers chart, followed by Mobil PLC, USCN PLC, Cap PLC, and Ashaka Cement PLC. And here are the top 5 trades. And that's it on business news. Coming up next, the sport news with Brownsie Owana. Stay with us.
A very big thanks for joining us on Sport News tonight. I am Brownsie Owana. 8 teams will be slugging it out for a chance to progress to the last 4 of the ongoing FIFA World Cup in Brazil. France will open the quarter-final stage against Germany on Friday before host country Brazil takes on Colombia in the second match of the day. On Saturday, fixture will see Argentina go all out against an European side, Belgium, while tournament favourites Netherlands takes on Colombia on Saturday. And away from that, Nigeria's Super Falcons will know their opponents for the 9th edition of the African Women Championship in Windhoek Country Club Resort on July 19. The draws will see representatives from 8 African countries which have qualified for the tournament gather in Namibia capital to know their foes for the group stage. Independence Stadium and Sam Jojuma Stadium, Windhoek, have been penciled down to host the games of the competition, which spans from October 11 through 25th, 2014. The finals of the tournament serves as the continental qualifiers for the 2015 FIFA Women's World Cup to be held in Canada. And away from that to League One, where ex-Barcelona goalkeeper Victor Valdez has failed his medical at Monaco and will not sign for the Ligue 1 club. Valdez sustained a serious knee injury in March after announcing that the 2013-2014 season would be his last with Barca after 12 years in his first team. Following his medical in the Principality on Wednesday, Monaco's Vice President, Admin Vashley, said he is injured and will not be fit to Monaco plan. The 32-year-old remains a free agent and must now convince a new club about his fitness. Finally, on Sport News tonight, to Wimbledon, former champion Petra Kvitova saw off fellow Czech Republic Farah Ivanovic in the straight set to return to the Wimbledon final. Kvitova seeded 6-1, 7-6, 8-6, 6-1 in first all-Czech semi-finals at a Grand Slam. The 2011 champion will face 13th seed Eugenia Bocha in Saturday's decider. The 20-year-old from Montreal won 7-6, 6-2 to Simona Halep to become Canadian's first Grand Slam single finalist in Wimbledon. And that's a wrap on Sport News tonight. I am Brownson Uwana. Gift Ogeta will be back with the rest of the news. Stay with us.
Every day, every hour, and every minute, news break in Nigeria. Things happen so fast, it's most times difficult to track and comprehend them. But that's what we do right here on Digit 360. 2015, would you want to come back again?
It's like asking Jesus Christ if he knew he was going to die, will you want to come back as the savior of the world again?
We do not just help you track the stories, we break them down, explore all the angles, analyze the issues so that you can fully comprehend the stories and use them to make the right decisions.
It's CoreTV Prime Time News. Now to the rest of our stories. The United Nations reassured West Africa that the world's deadliest Ebola epidemic could be stopped in its tracks. United Nations told West Africa's health ministers that the crisis can be handled. The highly contagious tropical bug has infected hundreds of people in Guinea, Liberia and Sierra Leone, with the latest World Health Organization figures showing that confirmed or suspected cases has left 467 people dead. The WHO has warned that Ebola could spread to other countries and that those hardest hit could struggle to contain the disease.
Cultural beliefs. Currently, people do not believe Ebola even exists. They believe it is witchcraft or something else. And so that is helping to spread the disease.
Most of the people living around these borders are very much connected in terms of ethnicity and trade and other social activities. So you don't really differentiate between these populations around the borders in these countries. So that gives it a very high possibility of spreading across borders to other countries.
It's very hard to absolutely stop the spread of diseases because people cross borders, people get in cars, people get in airplanes, and this is how these diseases move around. So the most important thing that we can do is to make sure that people understand what is the situation, so health workers understand that if they see somebody who is sick, this is a possibility, to make sure that information gets to the right authorities so that the key actions needed to stop it can be put into place.
The United Nations say it sees no reduction in refugees fleeing war-ravaged Syria for neighboring Jordan and appealed for funds to help the kingdom cope with the influx. The UN High Commissioner for Refugees says it expects the number of Syrian refugees in Jordan to increase by as much as 800,000 by the end of this year. The agency said Jordan is in desperate need of $2.6 billion to care for the refugees. Representatives of the UNHCR in Jordan, Andrew Harper, says the Syrian war has caused the worst refugee crisis since the Rwandan genocide.
That means, again, this is on the UN and NGO side, but the 40% of requirements does not really allow us to achieve what is expected of us. We do expect, and this is in discussions with the government of Jordan, that the population will continue to increase, the refugee population will continue to increase to some 700 to 800,000 by the end of the year. And what we're concerned about, next please, is that the level of funding will not continue to increase at the same rate. It would be basically 1 billion for the refugees and probably 1.6 for to support Jordan and the host community.
11 Palestinians were wounded when Israel pounded targets in Gaza as militants kept up a volley of cross-border fire with rockets hitting 2 houses in the Israeli south. Although there was no immediate sign of a return to the violent clashes which had engulfed Jerusalem lately following the kidnap the murder of a Palestinian teenager in a suspected revenge attack after 3 Israeli teens were abducted and killed. The pre-dawn raids came after nearly a dozen rockets struck southern Israel, 2 of which were intercepted by the Iron Dome anti-missile system, the army said. One scored a direct hit on a house in Serod, causing an electrical outrage across the town, police said. Even after the raids, the rocket fire continued, with another projectile hitting a second house in the town. The army said that nobody was injured. And that does it on CoreTV Prime Time News tonight. Thank you so much for watching. Join us again tomorrow. I am Gete on behalf of the entire production crew. I say good night.